Hey guys, DM Scott here. I want to talk a few minutes about gridless play. I know some people are having a hard time letting go of the grid, and think about it as the turn structure and the movement structure is to have everybody agree on rules in the game. Where you can we're using a miniature representation area to show encounters, so it's a way to agree where everyone is, and it's it works that way, but it's not really the optimal way to do it. You want to take away as much of the apparatus as possible, i.e. grid lines. It's like watching a movie. To me, it's like watching a movie and seeing the boom come in the top of the, or seeing the camera guy in the mirror or whatever. You're seeing the background of like the mechanic of the game. So I find the players lose themselves more if there's no restriction in movement, or it's not like a chess piece where you're moving here and it's this many points to move here and this. So I know I've gone in length about this, but I really want you to think about not using grid lines. It's really not as hard as it seems. Just cut those measuring sticks like I've shown in other videos, and you'll be fine. Present them to the players and say, this is how we're going to do it from now on. And then I don't think I've really shown this, but I cut some longer sticks too for like long range attacks and stuff. But generally all the players need are like a 6. I generally give them what their movement speed is stick. So using rulers can be really hard in the game, or even tape measures. I find the sticks work great. Like, they're just the right size, they're small, they don't really hamper play. They're just perfect for gridless play. And some questions arise when you don't use grids. And particularly one question is, say you have a trap, or say you have an invisible monster, how the heck do you track where the monster is? Like, if you can't kind of mentally track on a grid where the monster is as a DM, where do you know where the monster is? Well, I have a very elegant and simple solution for that, and I was going to show you that now. Here I have my 3 characters in an outdoor setting. I've got some light vegetation stands, and just some open area, some open grass. Now for like the light vegetation, I would say that that's like basically like light cover, because it's pretty good obscuring. So anything to the edge of the light cover would be, you get a bonus to hide in it. Okay. So say our creature starts out invisible, and the characters don't know that there's an invisible creature. So what I would do is, as the characters move up, that if the creature tries to attack one of them, since they don't really know it's around, you could have them make a perception check, and if they see it, depending on how hard you want to make it, you want to make the perception check, how sneaky the creature is on top of the invisibility. If you want to have them make a perception check, and then if they fail it, it's like a surprise attack and they get like a huge bonus, and if they see it, they wouldn't get as big a bonus. Then you could do it that way. So now what I would do is, once the thing attacked, I would put, they still wouldn't know what it was, so I use a glass bead. Okay, this is just a translucent or transparent glass bead. Okay, so this will mark where the creature is invisible, so it's right here. So they still don't know what the creature is because it's invisible. Unless they can do, you know, like they could do a monster check and have like a very hard monster check. They might be able to figure out what it is. But in general, they won't know what it is. So I use the glass bead. Okay. So, you know, they all roll initiative, and say the warrior rolls high, the thief doesn't, and the monk doesn't. So it ends up being the warrior, the creature, the thief, and the monk that go in initiative order. So the warrior, you know, wheels around, you know, takes a swing at it with a pretty hefty negative, and misses. So it's the creature's turn. So now what I would do is, not when the creature moves, don't move the glass bead, because the glass bead basically marks where the creature last was, so that they knew where he was. So leave the glass bead there, and then what I do is note how many turns that the glass bead has been in one spot. So say the glass bead's been in one spot, and the creature decides to retreat to attack from another flank. So in actuality, the creature is moving over here. Where in a grid system, the DM could mark that on his map or whatever, but we can't do that. We don't have, you know, you can make a map of the area and do that, but what I find it easier to do is just leave the glass bead and then mentally decide where the creature is going to go, and then measure from that point. So say they totally fumble their perception checks, they can't find it, and they're kind of fumbling around, you know, looking for it. The warrior gets brave and wanders off into the bush. So say it's been 2 turns since the creature went invisible. Okay. So the creature has a movement of 6. I was going to say. So the creature could move 12 now. Okay. On its turn, I could move the bead 12. So so these kind of guys are sticking together, but the warrior decided to wander off. So the creature had retreated, and then is going to attack. So he had retreated back, so 6, and then he's well within, you know, another 6 to attack. So so once the creature attacks, you could give the guy another perception check, and then the creature's next to him. Okay, so then the bead moves. So then you start again. So however long it takes the players to discover where the bead is, then that's how much you can move it. If it's 2 or 3 turns or just 1 turn, then that's how much you can move the bead. And then once, you know, if the creature loses its invisibility or something like that, then you just replace it with the actual creature model. So that's a really nice way to do invisibility without having grids. Now another thing is kind of like traps. So those can be tricky too. So what I do is, say the characters are wandering into the area, and I'll have, you know, like I'll mentally think, oh, there's a trap here. So if the characters move into it, then you could have them roll a perception if you want, and then the trap attacks like it normally does. And then I just have a piece of black poster board that I use for a pit, and so then if the character fails, you know, they fall in the pit, and then you know that marks that they've fallen in the pit, and then they can get out. You know, whatever they do to get out, they can get out. You know, climb out and everything. So that takes a little more judgment on the DM. You know, but you know, D&D is not a board game. You know, it's a role-playing game. It's a shared experience between you and the players. And if you build up the trust of your players, you know, I'm a very fair DM. Some people are killer DMs. I'm kind of the opposite. I love my players. So, you know, I don't arbitrarily try to kill people. You want to make it challenging, but you don't arbitrarily want to kill them. But if, you know, if you build up a trust between you and the players, they will trust that you're not just throwing stuff down, You know, I mean, which you could anyway with a grid system. But, you know, just, you know, it's not an exact science. You know, if the pit was, you know, a half an inch this way and the character might not have missed it, you know, that's okay. You know, just kind of mentally, you know, if they get close enough, they could slip and fall in. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, don't think of it so rigidly. That's part of the measuring system. You know, don't, you know, think of it more as a movie. You know, don't think of it so rigidly as, you know, with the little squares and you have the rules and all this. You know, general is okay. You know, it's not perfect. You know, it's not going to be as exact. You have to get over the fact that it's not going to be as exact as when you play with grids. And, you know, always the benefit of the doubt, I almost always give it to the player. Unless they're pushing it, you know, then I'll make a ruling no. But if you know, almost always I will give benefit of the doubt to the players. You know, if it's part of an inch off or something like that, I'll give it to them. You know, because it's, like I say, it's not an exact science. It's a story we're making together using some rules, and it's all about having fun. Players love to hit the creatures, you know, and their area effects and everything. So, you know, it's not an exact science, but, you know, so don't get so uptight about, that's part of DMing without the grid. Don't get so uptight and about it as a DM. And as a player, you know, just enjoy the scenery. You know, enjoy it without grids. Enjoy that, you know, you can move, you know, right here, and you know, you can move right here, you know, and like, you know, it may not be exactly on a square, but you know, you're where your character is where you want your character to be. You know, so just enjoy that as a player. And you know, I'm telling you, you know, 1 or 2 games, and the DM gets used to the system, you won't even miss grids. I mean, it just, you know, I mean, just see this table here itself, how much better that looks, and you know, if you had a gray mat with grids on it, because you know, you can't buy a, you know, a grass-colored mat, you know, with grids on it. Well, I think you can now, but anyways, you know, this has texture on it. This is cloth. This actually has texture on it. It feels like grass. It looks like grass. You know, you can't get that with a mat. You know, and it's like, oh, the world is gridded. You know, it's like, no, the world is not gridded. So, you know, don't be so uptight about the grids. You know, it's really not that hard to not use grids. So players, you know, cut your DMs some slack, and DMs, don't be so panicked about if you don't know the exact, you know, place that something is. Like I said, with the invisibility thing, it's you just mark where the creature was, and then you move however many turns the creature would have moved before they detected it again, you know, where it is currently. So those are some easy tricks to do hidden traps and invisibility without grids. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.